The United States and Venezuela are closest to a war in history. Washington has been slowly moving its ships towards Venezuela for the last 2 months. First it was small ships, then fighter jets, and now the largest and the most advanced ship, USS Gerald R has been deployed. It's a mini village in itself. It has a huge airbase, can carry heavy fighter jets up to 75 at a time, is equipped with next-generation radars, and its nuclear reactors allow it to run for 25 years straight without refueling. Still, the president, Donald Trump, says he has no plans of attacking Venezuela. You see, the script is awfully close to one we heard just 3 years ago.
And a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to around with the United States.
I appeal to the servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine once again. Don't let neo-Nazis and Banderites use your children, your wives, and elderly as human shields. Take power into your own hands. It seems that it will be easier for us to come to an agreement than with this gang of drug addicts and neo-Nazis, who settled in Kiev and took the entire Ukrainian people hostage.
Both leaders first created an enemy. For Trump, it's the drug cartels, and for Putin, it's the neo-Nazis, all while the real motive remains hidden. But our question is, if both leaders are playing the same game, why are the rules different? I'm Ananya Dutta. Let's get started. Days before Russia invaded Ukraine, there were clear signs of what Putin was planning. There was a massive buildup near the Ukraine-Russia border. The Pentagon was alerting the world about the troop deployment. The then US president went on record to say that an invasion was imminent.
And do you have any indication about whether President Putin has made a decision on whether to invade?
As of this moment, I'm convinced he's made the decision.
And protests in support of Ukraine spread like plague across Europe. The people were out and about in the streets, speaking out against Russia's aggression. So our question now is, where are the protests today? According to sources of the Washington Post and Business Insider, there are close to 20 warships in the region, most of them carrying missiles. There have been 19 separate attacks on Venezuelan ships. With providing little evidence, the US government has indicated all ships attacked were smuggling drugs. At least 76 people have been killed so far, and this is the largest US buildup in the region in decades. The United States might or might not invade Venezuela, but why aren't streets roaring against America's military posturing?
The region has been quite silent in its criticism of the US. In fact, many countries have been supportive of the deployment in the Southern Caribbean. A number of countries have also declared Venezuelan cartels to be foreign terrorist organizations, which looks to Washington as if the region is actually in favor of the pressure campaign against Maduro, as opposed to lending him any kind of diplomatic credibility.
We aren't saying that the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, is in the right. Corruption under his presidency has been at sky high. The country was in fact ranked 168th out of 180 in the Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index. According to the Organized Crime Index, Venezuela is now a key transit hub for cocaine trafficking. Our question is, when did the international system start justifying regime change by foreign military aggression? Why are the rules different? The Trump administration is calling this buildup a quote-unquote non-international armed conflict. Remember, the Russian government called the invasion of Ukraine as a special military operation. These technicalities are deliberate. They decide who can be targeted, which laws apply, and how other states can respond. And for those who say Russia has had a history of meddling in Ukraine, like in 2014 Crimea, the response would be, don't have selective amnesia. The United States has directly and indirectly meddled in Venezuela multiple times. In 2002, a group of Venezuelan military officers and business elites briefly ousted President Hugo Chavez and installed a business leader as interim president. Incidentally, the opposition had met with US officials just months before the coup. In 2020, a failed mercenary incursion called Operation Gideon tried to kidnap Maduro. It involved former US soldiers in a Florida-based private security firm. The US government denied involvement, but circumstantial ties existed. Even today, the opposition leader of Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado, has been openly backed by Washington. All her policies align with the US, so much so that she has called Trump's actions at the Caribbean a way to protect the Venezuelan people.
And that's precisely what President Trump is doing to protect millions of lives of American citizens, Latin American citizens, and certainly Venezuelan citizens. Maduro started this war, and President Trump is ending that war.
Fearing a regime change, Caracas has authorized a national defense framework. It is a direct message to all civilians and military forces to prepare for war.
If we, as a republic, as a people, must go to armed struggle to defend the sacred heritage of the liberators, we must be ready to win, to triumph through the path of patriotism and courage. And I say with the whole country, peace, 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 we want peace, we will have it. Facing maximum pressure, maximum preparation. Execute this law immediately.
Russia is ready to help Maduro already. In fact, we earlier did a story on how this confrontation between Washington and Caracas can snowball into a proxy war, where Russia, China, and Iran can be roped in. You can watch it by clicking on the box on your screens. And as for the United States, for decades it has strolled outside the rule of law. It's the first to preach morals to others and the first to violate them when its own interests are at stake. Today, Washington sounds the alarm over the Iran axis, de-dollarisation, and the rise of the global south. But the truth is, these are all consequences of its own making. It's been too long that America has ridden the moral high horse. Maybe it's time Washington steps off it. That's all on this episode of Grey Zone. I'll see you next time.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले.
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.